Dano, shouldn't we help your mom?
Oh, good one, man. Yeah, you're great.
What?
There's gonna be a huge accident. We're all gonna die. I just saw it.
All right, that's it. My turn to drive.
No, I'm serious.
Okay, what's wrong?
A candlelight.
Welcome back to the Hiding for Horrors podcast, where we review horror movies and horror franchises. I'm Mark.
I'm Teron.
And today we're reviewing Final Destination 2, released in 2003. Directed by David R. Ellis and story by J. Mackie Gerber, Eric Brass, and Jeffrey Riddick. Swan, can you give the people the plot summary?
Kimberly has a premonition of a horrible highway accident killing multiple people, including her and her friends. She blocks the cars behind her on the ramp from them joining traffic, and as a police trooper arrives, the accident actually happens. Now death is stalking this group of mistaken survivors, and one by one they are dying as they were supposed to on the highway.
So I like this one. There are a couple like character decisions and not character decisions, like characters that they chose to put in this movie. Get out the way. I was disappointed that it was clear that was brought back and not Alex. Like Clear had no personality in that first one. So like her being the lone survivor of the first movie didn't really like hit for me. But like I liked the setup, I liked the story, I liked I'm still a little bit iffy on like Dev's design going backwards, but overall, I enjoyed this one. What about you, Tawan? What are your thoughts on Final Destination 2?
Yeah, I really like Final Destination 2. I believe this is the first one that I actually saw, because I definitely remember seeing 2 before I saw 1, and this one lives in my mind more than the first one. And we all know why. I do. Well, let me see. Do I agree? Because I did like I did like Clear a bit, but I don't mind her. I didn't mind her return in this one. It was cool that we got actually someone returning. Anyway, besides Bloodworth, who pops up later, it was cool to see, but they didn't really keep it like a precedent ongoing, so I didn't really care for it afterwards. But it also kind of set up though, like even more so of how you can't really cheat death in the sense in this like universe and how everything goes on throughout the rest of the movie. Now, I do think out of all of them, maybe except 3, this is my favorite, like, premonition opening. I definitely think this one is my favorite. Like, just, you could tell how everything was done kind of like practically and stuff in this one, and it still holds up. And being in like a highway, like pileup or like car crash, it just fits a little bit more, and it makes it a little more scary because it's something that can happen every day. People drive like every day, so as opposed to like the plane blowing up or the plane explosion, this one probably hits a little more close to home for more people. It makes it a little more scary in the way that it happens, and I think that's why people remember this one like a bit more than some of the others, just due to like that fact.
Yeah, the returning character thing, that's definitely not something that we get in the later sequels. And I feel like we kind of get it, but we don't kind of get it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil, but I don't know. I feel like at some point having Alex probably pop up and like, oh, I actually survived would have been cool for one of the later movies. But I like that how they did it here. Like, even though it's pretty much a different team from the directors to the writers, like they bridge this movie and the first movie together like good. Like even the reason why the characters that we were following are even here is because they didn't die when they were supposed to because of what happened in the first movie, which we'll talk about later. But let's talk about that opening premonition because that opening premonition has scarred me and other people forever. Because like my first time driving on the expressway, I saw it wasn't even fucking logs. It was like some like metal like bars or sticks or something, and I was just like, no, no, I'm not driving behind this. I don't know what maneuver I'm about to do, but I am not driving behind anything like this because I've seen this happen already. I've seen this happen before. It's not happening, and it's like that plane explosion, that plane crash in the first one. Yes, that's scary, but I don't know.
Like that one's like the plane crash is more not plane crash, but the plane explosion is more like an irrational fear that you kind of get
Yes,
from like
yes.
it does like shit like that may happen like here and there, but it's so sparse to
Mhm.
where like the chances of it happen are very low. Now nowadays I don't know because the way Boeing is fucking up, we've been seeing a lot of weird shit on planes
Mhm.
happening lately. But in general, like that kind of stuff, like you probably will never see in your lifetime or experience. But a fucking car crash or a pile up because like some shit happened on the road, that happens every day. Like that happens
Yes,
every
and then
day.
also then like truth be told, it's potholes in the fucking on the e-ways too.
It
Like
is.
like not just like the local highways like go like traveling state to state. There are potholes and like big ass like things all over the place. So you could definitely hit some shit or get hit by some shit. And then people be driving crazy. Them truck drivers, I work in logistics. Truck drivers don't get no fuck sometimes. So something can fall off the back of a truck and be in your windshield and you gone. So like, but not even just the logs. Like from that scene with the chef guy with the drug problem. I forgot his name, but when like his car stops and he thinks he's okay, but he looks up and that big ass semi truck is just coming directly
Yes.
at him, like that whole the whole premonition sequence was just like if you thought the plane crash premonition was crazy, like this one was good and it was practical. There were a couple CGI bits, obviously, I saw a little behind the scenes. The logs were CGI, and
Which is crazy because like
you can't tell.
I would have never tell like because I've seen that too. I would have never been able to tell that that was CGI
But see,
by the
they
way
did
it looked.
CGI the right way. They instead of like because nowadays that whole sequence would have been CGI. But see, they only
You know,
use CGI where they couldn't do practical. Like they remove some wires, and when the cop's face gets smashed, that's a dummy. But then they CGI his face on the dummy. It's like bits and pieces like that, like all the car crashes, all the explosions. That was all practical, and like it makes that sequence so much better. Like the whole premonition sequence is better because of it.
I definitely agree. Yeah, this one was like, yeah, this one like stays in the mind. Like people who probably haven't watched the rest of the movies, they know about that damn log truck just because of Final Destination. We literally just spoke about it this week because we saw a video where it happened for real.
Yes,
Luckily,
like
nobody died,
I
but
saw a video where it happened, and then after I was watching that video, I was scrolling through Instagram reels, and I saw a video of this lady who was driving past some logs. She was like, "Nope, I've seen this before. I'm not doing this." I'm like,
exactly,
"Yes, yes," and I don't know. I feel like a good horror movie, sometimes even a bad horror movie, but like a horror movie that you want to like resonate, you have to have something like that.
yeah,
And for like this is the like again like all of the Final Destination movies have an interesting premonition, but this is the one that sticks out the most. Again, the plane crash is great. What we get next movie is okay, but this is the one that takes it.
definitely,
But let's talk about some scenes that we liked, good, bad, or indifferent. And the scene I'm going to complain about is kind of like one of the scenes I complained about in the last movie, and that's we see Kimberly, our main girl, with her parents or was it just her dad? I forgot. But her parents or parent in the first scene of the movie. Like that's how we meet her. But then we never see them again. Like they just disappear out the fucking movie. Like your daughter's friends just died in a horrible highway accident. She almost died. And y'all just leave? Like I forgot. I don't know if they ever mentioned how old she was supposed to be. Did they ever say how
Well,
old she was?
she was definitely in college, so she was in her early 20s because they were driving down for like spring break, I think.
Yeah, because like it was her dad. She was with her dad, and like again, like your daughter just almost died. Her friends died, and this is a year after your daughter. I mean, after your wife was killed, and then you just don't talk. You just away from your daughter for the rest of the movie.
Well, I would give a slight leeway because like Kimberly was bouncing around. She was everywhere.
She,
Like
she was.
like I ain't gonna lie, like she was kind of everywhere. Like I don't even know what her dad could have done. Now
Actually, no.
I definitely get what you mean.
I said we didn't see him again, but we saw him at the end.
Oh yeah, we
He was
did.
in the end, and the dentist scene because I saw because doing the research for the movie, I saw things that are like oh this that I saw stuff that said that kid was supposed to be 10, and I was like that kid ain't 10. That is a teenage boy. He is not 10. And then Kimberly was like, oh, he's 15 years old. I'm like, y'all giving it wrong. But also the whole dentist scene with the bird in the fucking
Mhm.
office, and
It was
then
it was
he
too
found
much.
out
If he gives me the gas and I wake up with my pants unbuttoned, we ain't paying.
it was just a lot going on. And then like, I'm sorry, but if you're a dentist and you're gonna be like poking me in the mouth or poking me with any kind of instruments, like you're not poking me with these fucking birds hitting the window.
How did they expect me to?
That's a
You'd rather just
distraction.
have a
That's
laughing
the
gas.
bird gonna hit the window. You gonna jump, and then you gonna stick me somewhere. I'm not gonna be stuck. Like we not doing this. We need to reschedule for these till the fucking birds are gone. And
Yeah,
also, if this kid's supposed to be 15, why is this grown ass teenage boy chasing birds on the fucking side of the street?
I do dumb shit like that.
Yeah, me too.
We way past 15.
but but the other scene was okay. A part that I didn't like, I did not like were I like okay. She was getting the premonitions. She was still getting premonitions. I like that. But her having like physical reactions to them was I don't know if I like that part. Like how
Wait,
when
say it
she
again.
like how she was having like reactions to the premonitions that she was having. Like she
Oh,
saw somebody being choked, so she started choking. And
oh
also,
yeah.
oh my god, the doctor, the nurse, she's gonna choke him to death. She's gonna choke him to death. Why why would the doctor choke this random man to death? How did we jump to that conclusion? She's gonna kill him, but why? Why is she gonna kill him? We never talked about this. She just we gotta get back to the hospital because they're gonna kill Eugene. Why is she trying to snuff out Eugene?
You're right. But we also had but also I guess in that situation, like anything could happen at that point. Seeing that anything was definitely happening to people, so
I
you're probably
mean,
just like whatever you got that could stick, you're just going to run with it.
no my. And then the last thing I'm complaining about was when we first see Clear. Now they're like, "Oh, you can't have this, you can't have that because she's afraid of you." But like, Clear, you have like this whole bulletin board that has like tax and all types of shit that keeping the photos and papers and stuff up. Like, what if Death decided to throw all these tax at you? Like, what if Death, I don't know, somehow get all these papers down your throat and you choke to death on paper? Like, you still got shit in this room that can kill you, ma'am, including the clothes you're wearing. Now we just saw Death drink somebody up before. Like it can be done with your little pantsuit. Like I don't know. It's just like you're afraid of stuff and people because you don't want to get hurt or killed, but then you have stuff in your room that could hurt and or kill you. But that's just me. What about you? What are any scenes that stood out for you? Good, bad, or different?
I definitely believe that I forget what his name was. It was the Evan. He was the guy that like kind of gave off like frat boy type energy who had just won the lottery. That he has to have the most trash luck out of anybody that I've ever seen.
Right, because you just won the lottery and then you die. Like
Like
that's
he
what
has the
pissed me
most trash
off.
luck. Like when we were in his scene, like prior to like his actual scene, like we were hearing like everybody was calling him and everything. Like it was like, oh, he won the lottery. I was like, damn, that is because we know what's about to happen, but like that is the craziest shit ever. And he was getting He was getting hit like his like death was fucking with him a lot. like that was like I'm gonna get your ass because like they were like it was not trying to let him live like cause he got out, he did everything, but everything prior to what like his eventual demise, it was like the anxiety was going up and up because it's like what's gonna get him first. So his scene was crazy. That was a good one. The scene where Kimberly tried to like drown herself in the van, that whole thing.
Pissing me off.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't like that. Like, I get, I get what we were trying to do here. Like, especially, give it some different, like, lore, I guess, to what they could possibly do to get out of, like, that cycle. But I don't know. That whole thing never really sit with me. Like, not in, like, a bad way. I was just felt like I'm very indifferent to that part of the movie. And one more scene was when I believe her name was Isabella, when she had the baby and they were all happy as shit for her, and she was like, "Who the fuck are y'all?" in the hospital room. That was always funny to me.
Right? Like I don't know these people. Why they why they clapping and shit for me?
Yeah, that was forever funny.
I want to talk about this scene where we learn how all the current survivors were connected to the survivors of the last movie. What do you think about that?
Say it again.
When we learn about how the survivors of this movie were connected to the ones from the last movie, what do you think about that connection with death?
I mean, it's definitely an interesting one. And it's like another case in this movie where they tried to have like that continuity factor, but it didn't really keep it ongoing. Which it was not an issue that it didn't keep it ongoing, but it would have been kind of interesting to see how they would have if they did.
But see, it gets messy for me because okay, they were supposed to die a year ago, or what? Yeah, they're supposed to die like a year ago, or like 2 years ago, but they didn't because of Flight 180 and all the survivors. So I mean, those people had 2 years of doing stuff. No, we don't know that the cook guy, his high ass could have been fucking and got somebody pregnant that he doesn't know about. So is now that baby on Dev's plan because the baby wasn't supposed to be here because he's supposed to be dead a year ago. Like, did they go see somebody? Like, introducing that opens up a can of worms because it's like, who did those people interact with, or have like dinner, or have like a short 6 month fling with, or had like a year long fling with when they were supposed to do the time they're supposed to be dead, that are just walking around and they prevented all the other stuff from happening. Like it's a cool concept, but for me, it just makes the whole continuity. It gets jumbled because now you have all these other there's these all these hold up. Now there's all of these possible ripple effects that are just lingering out there because there's a 2 year difference between this movie and the first movie. Those people who should have died could have done a lot of things in those 2 years.
That's true.
It leaves that open. And I don't like shit being left open. Well, let's talk about kills. You got any kills that stand out for you? Good, bad, or indifferent?
Yes. I think one of my favorites in this one was when Kat died. That one was it was funny to me because she had literally just spoke to like the fire
Put it on quiet
firefighter.
mode.
Could you be a little quieter with that thing, please?
Yeah, sure. I'll just put it on quiet mode.
That would be good.
Yeah, yeah. Like that, first of all, yeah, that was funny. Like, girl, come on now. But I was, I didn't like. I feel like it was too obvious that was going to happen. But when her kill actually happened, I was like, oh shit! And that man, he just traumatized himself for life. Like,
Right? And the last thing he said to her was some snarky comment like, sure thing.
exactly.
And it's like, damn, now she, that's not funny, but like, now she dead. And like,
But
now,
also, I feel like there's so many different ways in my head that they could have handled that, and not the way that they were doing.
my only thing about that is like, I liked how they had two kills back to back. Because
Yeah,
first Cat dies, and then the fucking like wired fence just like splits through. What was
the
his name?
stoner
The stoner guy, the stoner chef guy, and I'm
Rory.
just like, yeah, Rory. I'm just like, damn. I wasn't expecting his kill to be like. I wasn't expecting the kill to be so far, like so, like soon.
Yeah, that was a really good one. Um, Let me think.
Well, I
Oh,
know. Oh, go ahead.
my bad.
Go
Oh no,
ahead.
you go.
Well, I know. I know. One for me was it's the kid with the pigeons because
Yeah,
that glass thing just like squished his ass. Like it was I don't know, and it was a good practical effect. I know they used CGI on it, but it was just to like add more pigeons. Like they only used CGI to add more pigeons to the scene. Other than
yeah.
that, it was practical and it was great. And the mom just like right there, and she's sitting on like that was a crazy kill. What about you? What's another one for you?
Another one for me would be the mom Nora, because that elevator scene kill. Well, that's like an iconic kill from this movie. Like,
Oh, but her cries and her pleas for help, like it's so
yes,
sad,
like
so sad.
that scene like definitely stuck in my head. Also, when I watched this one when I was younger, that was a crazy one. Um, Also, Evans at the beginning, like the first one, the guy who won the lottery, just because,
Death by
like I mentioned,
spaghetti.
yeah, the spaghetti too, because he did that, he threw it out, but also like just Death was trying to get him bad, like he was doing everything he could, and then he did get out, but to get impaled by the damn ladder, that's so crazy.
Because if we're following the rules, like he was supposed to be dead 2 years ago. So not only did he not die when Death wanted him to, but the motherfucker won the lottery. So I felt like Death had a whole grudge and was like, "I'm gonna get this motherfucker." 'Cause that's what it was
Indeed.
given. That's what it was given. Um, the Death I didn't like was the kid at the end with the exploding grill.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. I wasn't feeling that like at all.
That one was crazy.
Like
It was definitely not as expected at all, because like we didn't even like know about him. And also, I think Uh, that kid, he was played by I forget what actor.
That's Noel Fisher. He
Yeah, from Shameless, right?
from Shameless. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that that was a crazy one because like it was just funny how it got brought up at the end. They really went for like a post credit scene.
And it was so, and all because like he almost got hit by that news truck. First of all, that news truck was driving recklessly as fuck. Like, why are you driving like this? What are you doing right now? Come on. Any other kills that stood out for you? Good, bad, or indifferent?
Uh,
I think I might have talked about them all, if I'm being honest.
yeah, the only ones we really didn't touch on, if I recall, are Eugene and Clear.
That double death was her opening a door and then explode because the mixing of the gas and whatnot. It was kind of lackluster for me.
Same.
Like former co-host Kennedy used to, when we did all of the Halloween movies, he hated whenever a character would pop up from the previous movie and get killed off. So that's kind of how I felt with this one, like the first time ever. I'm just like, yeah, you knew she was here to like get some exposition and to like move the plot along,
Mm-hmm.
but then like she blew up. I'm just like, eh, like
Yeah. I thought it was fine. I think it was fine. Well, I felt bad for Eugene, but also, I did not think they were going to kill Claire. Mm, I felt like you kind of had to, especially
yeah,
because
you definitely did.
she was surviving for too long already.
Yeah, and I feel like if she would have survived this one, and then we saw her again the third one, it would have been like. But also, see, I don't want to skip ahead because I know how her being around could have eventually played into the plot of the last one, but it wouldn't be able to play. See, I can't even. I'll tell you off mic because it would make sense if they didn't pull what they pulled in the last one, but I don't want to spoil it for those who haven't seen it and who are watching along with the reviews. So I don't know. I feel like if done right, they could have brought her back, but it also would have opened a bunch of questions because, like, is this bitch killing people off who survived to keep herself alive?
Yeah.
Which would kind of see. We'll get there when we get there, but let's move on to the characters now. Returning is his name William Bloodsworth? Bloodsworth?
William Bloodworth.
William Bloodworth. We got Tony Todd back for another ominous scene.
Come to pick my brain.
Just a simple question and we'll leave you alone with your new friend.
Dead. Yet still fresh.
And he pretty much told them that you can never beat Death's design. Death's working backwards. And I just love when Tony Todd pops up and gives his like
Exactly.
his deep scary voice speeches and then just disappears again. Because we got him for one scene this time. But what are your thoughts on seeing Tony Todd back?
Yeah, kind of same as you. I like just like I mentioned in the first one, like he doesn't need much to pop up, but also it doesn't feel like bad exposition dumping either. I don't know how because it like usually in a movie if we get exposition dumped on, it feels unnecessary. But when you have a character going to someone for answers and they give like that, like the audience essentially like the answers, it doesn't feel as bad, I guess you could say. And I kind of felt that about Bloodworth's character. He doesn't overstay his welcome. Like he pops up, like does what he does, and then like he's out for the rest of the movie. But he just leaves that impact though, because it's like how commanding Tony Todd is like on screen.
But yeah, and also he isn't overstaying his welcome. Because sometimes those exposition scenes can go on for like 5, 10, 15 minutes. Because they want to give you a whole backstory. They go in, ask a question. He tells them, basically, you fucked. You ain't getting around. You can't beat
pretty
death.
much.
He come back around to get your ass. And then that's it. He just goes, he disappears again, and we don't see him anymore. I feel like that's if you're gonna do an exposition scene like that or what something similar, keep it short and sweet, and that works.
It does.
But let's move on to Clear Rivers, our returning character. Well, our other return, we had Tony Todd in that first movie, but Clear was the main character, and she was different from how she was portrayed in the last movie. She was more,
Active, I guess you could say.
yeah, she was more active because I feel like she wasn't really active that much in that last one. It was definitely more like Alex. Alex had everything going. Alex was doing everything. But I don't know. This was a. I don't know. For me, I don't think Clear was a character that should have been here. But that's just me. What are your thoughts on Clear this time around?
Hmm. Also, kind of feel like she maybe shouldn't have been here as well, but I'm trying to think of the best way to put it. Yeah, I don't think she should have been in it. But since we also didn't see her die, well, we didn't see Alex die on screen either, so I can't say that because we didn't see him die on screen. I was about to say the whole, we didn't see her die on screen, so she technically could make a comeback because she didn't really die for us. But Alex also didn't die on the screen, and what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, Alex didn't die on screen, and he isn't back. But she came back, and she didn't die on screen for us. So, well, in the previous movie, and just saying that she died like off screen would have been weird. But yeah, so that logic doesn't really work here. I guess you could say. Um, hmm. Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it that way. Yeah, I don't know actually if
Yeah,
she.
you do have a point there. Having like the two characters that we know survived in that first one die off screen would have been a cheat.
Mm,
And then to say that Alex died, but we have no mention of what happened to Clear, would have been also a cheat because we know for a fact that we know Carter died from that scene. So
yeah.
it would have been weird not knowing what happened to Clear. So yeah, I kind of get it, but also she just felt like it was like, oh, we need a character from the first movie. Who are we gonna get? Oh, let's go get Clear. So, but that's just me. I'm not a big Clear fan. Sorry, guys. But let's talk about what's his name. Let's talk about was it Deputy Thomas Burke, Sheriff Burke? Let's talk
Yeah,
about
sure.
Talk about Sheriff Burke. What are your thoughts on Sheriff Burke?
Um, I thought Burke was like he was a serviceable character. I didn't really, I really don't think I have much opinions on him to be quite honest. Um, like he was serviceable for the role that he was doing, which cop helping the character out instead of like grilling, Kimberly as the cops did in the first one, which yes, still does make sense because it was a plane accident, and as to why they would be like in that way. But for this particular movie, and also they already had the events happen from the first movie in their universe. Like it would make sense that somebody at least believed her, and it was good that it was a cop because he was able to help do what he did, especially when they thought that when they thought that they needed that lady to have her baby, and they were able to kind of get her. If they didn't have even though that didn't work, if they didn't have the officer helping them, they wouldn't have been able to track that lady down and get her under like the supervision of like police and stuff like that. Outside of that, though, I don't really think I care much for Officer Brett. I will say, out of most of these movies, after even though this is only the second one, I tend to not care for much of the characters. Um, mm, and I think out of the most of them, only
It's he proved less useful than Clear did in the first one, because what we're gonna get with with all these movies is that you get the person with their premonition, and then you basically get their sidekick who try to help, who try to like, I'll not only help them to figure out Death's design and beats Death's design, but also like, I'm helping you because helping you means I ain't gonna die, bitch. But he just felt like one of the like more useless ones, even though he was a cop. And also, they had no chemistry.
that's very true. I think that's where it kind of
Because also, isn't he supposed to be in his like late 20s, early 30s, and she's like a freshman in college? So it was also that thing. But I don't know. But that's just me. That's just me. But let's go on to our girl Kimberly. She who had the premonition. What do you think? What are your thoughts about Kimberly?
I really didn't even care for Kimberly either. I
Um,
think besides another character we'll mention later in the series, Kimberly is one of my least, not like likable, because I don't really care if like how likable she was, but she is my least cared for Final Destination protagonist. um, yeah, she was a little, she was a little boring, and I felt the whole thing that you kind of said earlier about how when she would have a slight like look into what's possibly going to happen to whoever's going to die, like stuff was like happening to her. And I don't know if it was the actress or something, but it felt like she was overacting in those moments to me. Um, yeah, and I'm not really, and I actually don't, at least on top of my head, have anything else that I even associate with this actress except this movie.
I
So to
do, because I'm a huge Criminal Minds fans, and she's been on every season of Criminal Minds, and she's a great actress.
damn,
Like
that's crazy.
she does like some amazing like work on Criminal Minds. She had like some seasons where she had like some crazy stories that she really pulled off, like the emotional beats, everything. But I don't know. I think this is one of her first projects, and she's very green, not
Mm,
good, and I wasn't connected to the character at all.
yeah. Yep, I agree, because she was not really giving much in this movie for me.
Well, and with that, we have come to the end, but not quite the end, because Tuan, can you give the people the behind the scenes info and facts?
The budget for Final Destination 2 was 26 million. It brought in a box office of 90.9 million. Some interesting facts. All the kills and big events were done practically. The accident on the highway was based on a 125 car pileup on the Interstate 75 in Ringgold, Georgia on March 14, 2002. Uh, Real logs were tested for the crash sequence, but they didn't bounce enough, therefore the logs are CGI in this film. A pigeon breaks through the window and gets inside the waiting room in the dentist's office. According to some superstitions, a bird being inside a building means that someone in the building will die. Devin Sawa revealed why he didn't appear in the sequel, explaining, "It just didn't work out. I wasn't..." Well, let me read that again. Devin Sawa revealed why he didn't appear in the sequel, explaining, "It just didn't work out. I just wasn't really capable of working," the actor said. "Then I took some time out of the business. My agents talked to the producers. They ended up discussing going a different way. Maybe I thought I'd come back for a third, but then I never. It just didn't work out. There was no hard feelings with anyone, though." Some critics' reactions. The film currently sits at a Rotten Tomatoes score of 50%. Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times wrote that perhaps movies are like history and repeat themselves, first as tragedy, then as farce. Variety said that Carson, as skeptical Eugene, energizes what had been a rote conception on the page. Cherry offered some try... Damn, I can't read today. Variety said that Carson, as skeptical Eugene, energizes what had been a rote conception on the page. Cherry offered some dry comedic balance. USA Today complained that there's an audience for a movie in which innocent people suffer hideous accidental deaths is troubling enough, but a group of creative people chose to direct their energies on this repulsive spectacle. Oh, I want to know whoever said that, what was their reaction to Saw?
Right? Just because something ain't right. But enough about them. What about us? Do we cash or pass Final Destination 2? Tuan?
I definitely will cast Final Destination 2, even though I don't really care for this, the characters and such in this one. I will say they're kind of the last thing that I'm even looking forward to in these movies. I feel like, when you're coming into a Final Destination movie, we're looking at, okay, what's the opening premonition? What's about to happen? And how are they about to creatively off the rest of these people? And I was given that. And I think they did really good for this, be a little follow-up to what was initially going to be a Twilight Zone episode. And now we have this, whole franchise. And this one is the one that I feel, besides another one in the series, in my opinion, I feel this one sticks the most with people. Just due to, it being a car pileup at the beginning and how common of an occurrence car crashes is. And just like we mentioned earlier, to this day, people will never drive behind those trucks that are carrying logs, pipes, or anything like that look like you might be a part of the next Final Destination.
And I would have to say I also cast Final Destination 2. And like Tuan, it's not because I really... See, now it gets tricky because the characters are kind of bland, but the kills are inventive and creative. So I guess we're a horror podcast. The kills are the best part of the horror movie. So for that reason, I cast it because the kills are inventive and they're great, and that premonition alone gives it a cash. Like Tuan said, people would drive behind things now and just nope. I know how they said you're not going to get me in the Final Destination movie, and just I don't know. It threads together the first two movies. It wraps up the storyline from the first movie, and it's a good serviceable sequel. Was it needed? No. Is it horrible? Does it ruin the previous one? No. So it's a cash for me. Join us next week to find out if Final Destination 3 will get a cash from all of us. Good night.
If you like this episode, please check out the Haddonfield Horror Podcast from big series like Friday the 13th, Halloween, and Saw, or our one-off reviews like The Blackening and Hereditary. You can follow Haddonfield Horrors on Instagram and TikTok, where the hosts post updates and mini-reviews. Full episodes are available on several podcasting platforms and YouTube. If you're listening to us on YouTube, please like and subscribe. The Haddonfield Horror Podcast is produced by Mark Smart,
Maria Perez,
Tuan Griffin, and Elian Cordova. Themed by Lethal Injection and edited by Mark Smart.
The Haddonfield Horrors podcast is a Letters to Media production.
Should we do an intro?